There we go. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good
Morning,
morning.
Griffin.
So,
Morning.
this morning, just wanted to go over a certain skill that I think everybody can appreciate, as people that are on the phones all day, helping people with life insurance. For those of you who maybe haven't been with me before in like a training room or maybe met me before, my name's Griffin, and I've been with the Price Group for about a year now. I've been doing life insurance since 2019. And I am here to just kind of go over something that I think a lot of people run into when they're on calls. It's two parts, but the first thing that I just wanted to go over with you guys this morning is we're kind of in a unique position where we do final expense mostly, and that's probably the most common thing that everyone here's doing. Like 99% of us are just doing a specific thing that's very, very narrow. So the buyer that we are helping is a certain type, a certain age, and so there's a lot of things you'll learn as you start to communicate with these individuals. And actually, you might even be able to relate to some of them as your own family. So when we go into those conversations, I think the first thing before I go into the skill of it is just understanding the mindset a little bit. And so I just wanted to take a moment to just share the buyer's mindset with you just for a moment that I've observed over, it's been about, this is like my seventh year, like anniversary coming up next month. So, you know, I don't like to always put everybody in the same basket, but there is a bit of a mindset that the buyer does have. And so I'll just go over a couple of like points about that, and then I'll go into the skill that I think that you really need to have when you're dealing with that mindset. Okay. So, number one, guys, we're dealing with people who, you know, I don't like to necessarily, talk bad about someone. I'm not saying that it is necessarily bad, but they're professional procrastinators. So there are individuals who, like, if they had gotten all the life insurance they ever needed, if they had set everything up when they were really young, there is a very high probability that they would not be talking to us. They would not be on the phone with us. They would have never requested this. So we're really not even talking to the buyer who isn't going to be in this frame of mind. That's very unique because of the marketing. The thing that we say and that we do matches up pretty well with what they're filling out, which is interesting, right? So I always, when we were doing Facebook leads in 2019, it was like, does the pitch match the marketing in the beginning? So that's why the script is so important, right? Because what you're saying can relate to the mindset of the individual that you're actually talking to, right? So we're dealing with someone who is on a fixed income. We're dealing with someone who worked and either retired or is disabled now. You're dealing with someone who they care about their family or they care about somebody or they don't want to be a burden on somebody. You're talking also to someone who, I'm just going to say it, whether this lines up with your beliefs or not, the majority of America is Christian. So there's a good chance that they believe in God or they're a Christian. And so I'm going to say a few things that I think align with what everyone that I talk to generally will believe. So, in fact, what I can also do, if anybody does want to role play this morning, I'm gonna let that happen if you want, just because I think that it would pair nicely with what we're talking about. So just to go a little bit more on the mindset, the individual gets a lot of calls. They get a lot of calls. And I just had a person today, I'm pretty connected to Grant Cardone's office. With a lot of the people that used to work there. I'm friends with them on Facebook, the chief operations officer of their company. She was just posting this morning. She makes multiple six figures a year and runs Grant Cardone's companies. Her name's Sherry Hamilton. She was just posting this morning on Facebook saying, "Hey, um, I am so sick of this company calling me, and it's not just one company. It's all about a loan that I never applied for." And so somehow someone got her number and they're reselling her data because this isn't somebody who is just going to go clicking around online as far as we know, right? I mean, she's a very educated woman who's running at least 5 to 7 companies that do nearly $1 billion a year, and that is pretty amazing. So even her, she's getting, she's a little older. She's probably 60 something. She's not stupid. She is very intelligent. And that's not to say that anyone who's not getting a lot of calls is stupid, but if you go and you fill out 15 forms on Facebook and then you get upset about it because you get a lot of calls, kind of dumb, but it happens. We've all probably filled out something and then got our phones blown up. In fact, I changed my number that I had for a decade because I could not stop whatever had happened to a data leak or whatever it was. And so for 10 years I've had the same number now. I'm never going to change it again, but like that's what you're dealing with these people. And it's really important for you to know that because timing is everything. And so you might call somebody and then they hang up on you or they're really nasty. There might not have been anything that you could have done at that time. So just know that and then move on. So that way, like if you have a really bad date and you just dwell on it forever, that's going to mess up your next date that you could have had. So if you can just kind of move on quickly from that and then get a good one, then you'll forget all about the bad one and you won't even probably think about it again for a long time. That's what it is like on all these calls. The difference is that you're doing it very really heavy. Like, you're supposed to be putting in, 3 to 500 dials, and the more people you talk to, the less dials you're going to make. So when you're talking to these individuals and they sound crispy or they sound really upset, it's important for you to realize like, hey, this person, they're just getting hammered with calls. So I'm going to actually say that. I'm going to say, hey, look, man, are you just getting a lot of phone calls? And they're like, yeah, I'm just getting, my phone just won't stop ringing. I get 15 calls a day. I'm like, listen, this is the first time we've spoken, okay? I understand what it's like. I really do. So this is the skill of the day, right? You're acknowledging what they're saying. Like you're letting them know that you hear them. Okay. This is a word you don't hear anyone talk to you about. Acknowledge. It's just a simple, very important thing where, okay, you're at Thanksgiving. I'll give you an example of it. Okay. Just in your own life, right? You know, I'll never forget this. I don't know why. And I keep using the example. So that's probably why. But when we're at Thanksgiving, years ago. We're just, we're helping. The family's like working together to kind of get everything ready, and we're almost done. We're about to all eat, and then my mom's asking my brother, who's 8 years older than me, to go. And he's like, he's like 40 at or 38 at the time, and she's like, "Hey, Brandon, can you go get this thing or whatever?" And he didn't say anything, so she just kept saying it again, like, "Hey, can you go get this thing?" And then or will you do this? And she said it like 3 times. And then he's like, I'm doing it. I heard you. And then she was like, hey, I didn't know that you heard me because you never said anything. You didn't acknowledge me. That's what she said. So this is a skill that you can learn on certain communication courses. It's really simple and it's like, oh, well, that's nothing special. But you actually take it for granted because some people a lot I hear new agents do this all the time. It's called an inappropriate acknowledgement. If the person's like, "Hey, I got diagnosed with prostate cancer in June," you're not going to say good, or you're not going to say that's great or awesome. You're not going to say that because that's inappropriate, right? So you would say something like, "Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. How are you doing? Like, is it like Yeah, oh no, it's minor, no worries. Like they said like it's 75% treatable. That means, there's only a 25% chance. I'm still scared, but I feel optimistic that I'm going to be able to handle this. And you're like, "Great. I'm really glad to hear that because that's what happened to my dad and I'm really glad that you're going to be okay." These are acknowledgments, and you may not even think about it, but there's one that's a little deeper. So this is part two of the same skill. Okay. So acknowledgement is just letting them know that they're heard. But the other factor, if you have a talker, if you have someone that just will not stop talking, it's because they do not get acknowledged. They do not get acknowledged. They like, and in their life in general, but particularly in this conversation, if they, every time you ask them a question, you're like, it's a 5 minute answer, they are lacking in acknowledgments because acknowledgments stop communication. Like if someone gave me a really good acknowledgement, I would stop talking, right now. So that's really important. And when you go too long without acknowledgments, you start to like, I need an answer, like, and you'll take an answer from anywhere. These are the talkers, the lonely people. They never really get to talk to anybody. They never feel heard. So that's what you're running into with that. Then they say something like, "Hey, I have a doctor's appointment." And you're like, "Oh, here we go. Another doctor's appointment." Everybody has a doctor's appointment when I call them. Well, it's like, I hear you. And look, we can talk later, but let me know a couple of things real quick to see if it even makes sense to call you back. You can make that a question or you can make that I'm going to do this, a statement. I prefer the first one. And they're like, no, 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 I really can't talk right now. No, I completely get it. Thanks for picking up the phone. If they really couldn't talk, they wouldn't have answered the phone. Okay. But legitimately, you hear like people, okay, come on, mom, hurry up. Like, I'm waiting on you. Then they're not like lying to you because we make a lot of calls and we talk to a lot of people. So there is a good chance that these people occasionally do actually have a doctor's appointment they need to be at. Or their daughter's just really good at like, Mom, you're going to be late for your appointment. And then they hang up and they're like, we tricked him again. Like, I don't know. Sometimes it's both, but most of the time you can hear what's going on in the background and you can tell if they're telling you the truth or not. Honestly, like if you're using a cell phone, that's great. And I do, right? But every now and then I feel like I need to put on a headset so I can hear, a Bluetooth wireless headset. I got one for my computer and I got one for my phone. It's not, this is my job. This is what I do for a living. So it's worth investing in hearing so you can give the appropriate acknowledgement. If I hear someone going boop, boop, and I know they're in the grocery store, I'm like, all right, well, you're checking out, right? Yeah. You're gonna have Bluetooth in your car, right? I mean, there might be a chance I just keep the conversation going if I can. It just really, really depends on what's going on. If they got four people in the car and I'm on Bluetooth, that's a difficult conversation that you have these influencers who are messing up my deal. You can make a determination of what you want to do there. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. You keep the person on the phone or you just move on, because timing does matter. So when someone says something like yesterday, I have a new agent, okay? And he's so introverted on the script that he's not really listening to the customer. The customer says, it's really interesting, actually. It's a lead that I let him call. It's mine. And the favorite hobby said Christopher, but the beneficiary said Joe, her husband. So her email said Christopher's heart. Christopher died 2 years ago. The family had to come together and bury Christopher. The next person's going to be cremated and buried in the same plot. That's going to be her. Her daughter said not to worry about it. We'll take care of it, mom. How are you going to deal with that? First of all, he didn't even go into the pain. He didn't even go in. He just breezed right over it like it didn't matter. And then he continued with the script. And that was really the actual most important thing that he could have talked to her about. But he's new and he's learning and that's okay, right? We worked on it. We went over it. It'll be fixed. And we're going to do some more role play on it, all right? And that's really important. So it's 9:16. These meetings usually go about 30 minutes, and I could talk to you until we're all blue in the face. What I would prefer to do is I want to talk to somebody specifically who is making calls and is is actually making calls on a daily basis and hopefully at least made one sale. Or you haven't made a sale, but you're making calls. That's the person that I would want to come off mute and I would like to talk to that person. Now listen, there are, and this is awesome, guys, 64 people in this call. So I appreciate you all being here. But I just want to, this is going to be fun. I think you'll appreciate this if we can get somebody to have the courage in front of everybody to role play. And I'll be the agent if you want. You can be the customer. I don't care. I'm looking. Somebody making calls. The rule is you got to be making calls. If you're not making calls,
I'll be the customer.
oh, perfect. That's awesome. Thank you. Okay. So I want you to be the person that you are running into that you feel gives you the most difficulty. Okay.
Uh-huh.
First of all, if you don't mind, Shandell, this is a good question for everybody. What's the hardest part about your job?
Um, Getting people to stay on the phone.
Okay. And which part of the call? The beginning?
Yes.
Okay. And if you don't mind, just because I know we're about to go into it, but can you tell me some of the things you hear that you feel are a little difficult to deal with?
Um, Basically just when they don't have time to talk about it or they're busy at the moment.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So I want to say something because this is really important. That's super good data to have because the greeting has got to be the most important thing to get really good at because the greeting, if we can't get through that, then nothing else really matters, right? So I got to get people to answer, but then once that happens, the greeting. So here's the really interesting thing I'm going to say about it. There's all these little word tracks that you can memorize and you can say, and these are little rebuttals and yada, yada, yada. However, sometimes you got to just break the mold. You just have to be completely out of the box. And that's something that you learn through like a lot of calls and a lot of conversations. So I just want to give you some things that worked really well. I had to cold call business owners before everyone knew who Grant Cardone was. This was 9 years ago. And y'all didn't know who he was 9 years ago. I guarantee it. Most of you didn't. But everybody knows who he is now. So it was way harder back then to call people and try to sell them sales training, especially when they're a business owner, because they are actually busy and they are running a company. So, you know what I mean? Like we know that they're busy. Okay. So, number one, like, let me call you, and then I just want you to be the person that gives you the most difficulty, okay?
Okay.
Here we go. All right. Ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, Shandell.
Yes.
Hey, Shandell, this is Griffin. How you doing over there?
Good. How are you?
Good. And look, guys, you don't have to say how are you doing. Some of the best people I know say that, and some of the best people I know don't say that. So you just need to feel it out and do what you feel is right, okay? Try it with both. So I'll do it one more time and I'll not say how are you doing. So ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, Shandell.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
Shandell, this is just Griffin. I'm with the Price Group, and the reason for my call was a little while back. You went on our website and you showed a little interest about the state-approved final expense burial programs. You said your beneficiary would be Joe. Does that ring a bell?
Yes.
Okay. Were you looking for information for yourself or for a loved one?
For myself.
Okay. Now, if you throw something at me,
But I don't have time right now. I'm just heading into the doctor.
I understand I'm busy too. My job's to get you all the information in the shortest amount of time possible so you can make a decision on your own whenever you have some time. And then I would just continue with my script. And that's not the only thing you can say. There's no silver bullet, right? I've never seen one in any industry that just works 100% of the time. So when you try that and if it doesn't work, then you can try like say, listen, I don't want to blow your phone up. This is me breaking the mold and going out of the box, right? I'm
Um,
like, okay, look, I don't want to blow your phone up because I'm trained to call you until you get this policy. My job's to protect your family, but I don't even know if I can help you or not. Look, I get that you're busy. You probably get a lot of calls, and there's never really a good time to talk about this. I just have a couple questions, and it'll take less than 2 minutes. I'll get out of your hair. See, all those things could be said, and all of them could work, but it's like, listen, Sarah, and if they sound crispier, like the way she sounded was kind of neutral. If they sound more upset than that, like more angry, I just say, hey, listen, man, are you getting your phone blown up? Are you just getting a ton of calls right now from random people? Yeah. Oh my God. It just, I get so many. Like you're gonna hear them say that, and that's called releasing frustration.
okay.
It's coming out like, oh, somebody understands. Like that's actually a form of look, it all can't we all started out with an acknowledgement, right? Somebody understands me. I had a job where I'm just going to tell you guys just really quick. This is super important. When I was at work, there was an HR manager and he's a really good guy. And there were people that would just like by the time they got to him, they sit in the office with him and they're just like they're just like because they're starting to upset other people in the company. And now they got to sit down with the HR manager and he's just sitting there listening to her go and go and go and go and go. She's like angry and upset and he says, "I understand you." And she was like, "You understand?" And like she just like totally like her whole body, he told me about this. Her whole body like relaxed. Like she was all like tense and then she just oh like oh I can sit back now. Somebody understands me. Like that's what an acknowledgement can do for somebody. But we don't talk about it, right? No one talks about this. Okay. But then again, you have what's a deeper level of that. So there's the surface level, which you can brush off usually in the first 2 to 3 minutes. Listen, this is the first time we spoke. I just wanted to make sure that it's worth a call back for you because you probably get enough calls anyway, right? And I'm like making faces and I'm like changing my tone and I'm trying to talk to him like a real person. And that takes some skill that you can work on. But I'm like, listen, Donald, you probably get like a ton of calls, don't you, buddy? He's like, dude, I get like so many calls. I'm like, well, I get it, man. I get phone calls too. I don't want to be like everybody else that just annoys you and bothers you. Let me just check and see if this even makes sense for you because you did fill this out. Like you did go on our website. Oh, I know, I did. I did. You're right. I'm like, dude, let me just take 2 minutes here and then we'll see if it even makes sense to talk later. And then you're deeper into the call. You have more ammunition. If he does end up hanging up on you, you've got more ammunition when we talk in the future. Donald, this is Griff from the other day. Do you remember telling me that Timothy is, whatever the case may be. Your dog, how's your dog doing? Did he end up being okay from the vet? Like taking those little notes? Dogs, she's got a schnauzer. His name is Toto. He's from The Wizard of Oz. You know, anyway, it's 9:26. Shandell, did you want to throw some more stuff at me? Because I'm willing to be the agent. You can be as mean to me as you want. We can have some fun with it.
That's basically all the one. That's basically the big one that I get. I mean,
Can you be the person that feels like they're gonna hang up on you no matter what? Like, can you kind of feel like rushed and like, oh no, I already took care of that. I gotta go. Can you be
okay.
that person?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, ring ring.
Hello?
Hi, Shandell.
Yeah, who is this?
This is just Griffin from the other day. Do you remember just kind of being curious to see what your options were to protect your son?
Yeah, I don't got time for it right
Now,
now.
I realize you probably got to go, but before you go,
Yeah, I don't have time. I'm gonna
you know,
go. Bye.
I kind of paused there just so you know. I'm going to back up again. So that was the first thing I would do to slow him down just a little bit. Hey, I realize you probably got to run, but before you hang up on me, like, like if I was at a house, I know agents, and I'm not sure if it was Steve Giordano. You guys can look him up. Who he lives in where I live, $1 million a year. Um, he would like stick his foot in the door and shit. This is a true story before you go. There was an agent in a home sitting down, pitching the customer at the kitchen table. Steve comes knocking on the door and he just won't stop. Like he knocks on the door. The guy's like, oh, he'll go away. You know, he's sitting in his own house. Like he'll go away. Don't. And then he keeps knocking, keeps knocking, keeps knocking. Okay, I'm gonna go see what it is. He goes over to the front door, and Steve is there, and he's like, "I've already got somebody in here pitching me life insurance right now." He's sitting at my table. Steve says, "Hey, can you talk to me for a second? Like, can you step out?" Like the other agent couldn't even hear what he was saying. The guy closes the door behind him, steps out on the porch with Steve, leaves the guy in his house by himself with the door closed. Steve and him come back into the house, sit down at the kitchen table, and two agents are now sitting at the kitchen table with. So that's the kind of audacity that Steve has. And he was, for like 5 years, he was Family First Life's #1 producer. 5 or 6 years. Over $1 million in premium written per year. It started out just final expense and mortgage protection, which is just term. And then it moved into like a little bit of IUL stuff, which is what we do. So you got to put your foot in the door with words, to keep people from hanging up. And they're going to hang up anyway. So what do you have to lose? Like let's be a little creative here because, and again, sometimes there's nothing you can say that's going to keep them from hanging up on you. You don't got to take that personally. You got to remember we're paid to do that. This is why we get paid, to do this job. So it is tough sometimes when you take too many losses in a row in one day, 2 days, then 3 days. It's like, oh man, can somebody just want this? Can somebody just like say, yeah, I've been waiting for you to call me. But if you actually make enough calls and you speak to enough people, and this is the secret, this is the hard truth, okay? And before we wrap up here, the hard truth is if you talk to enough people and you spend some money on some leads, you'll get the people that are like, dude, thank you for calling me. Now, when you get the person that's really easy, this is a skill. We're doing more than one skill today. I think this is the most important thing that all of you guys can do. Other than the emotional core of the conversation, like you have to talk about something painful if you can. Unfortunately, it's just part of it. But later in the call, at some point, you need to differentiate yourself from all the other stuff that's out there. And there's one thing that you can do to do that on every call. And it's an educational piece with some questions. Has anyone ever told you the difference between term and whole life, Shandell?
Yes.
Okay. So can you tell me what term is?
Term is temporary.
Good. Yeah, exactly. Term is what you're seeing on TV all day long. You're getting it in the mail. People are trying to get it to you because it's the cheapest, lowest cost. I'll tell you what, Shandell, term was good when you were about 20 years old and you had 4 kids. That was when it was good. $100,000 would have paid out. You're paying 20 bucks a month. You ever see these commercials and they're a little bit too good to be true?
Yep.
Yeah. So I have 15 companies. They're all permanent whole life. So anyone over 50 should be getting some whole life because it's permanent and it lasts forever. It builds cash value inside of it. So if the roof caved in and you needed to borrow from it because you had no other choice, you could. We don't recommend that you do that, but it is nice to know it's there if you need it. This is going to be there no matter what. All right. The last thing I want to tell you, if I didn't make it clear earlier, is I have 15 major carriers. You know, Mutual of Omaha. You've probably heard of Gerber, American General, Aetna, Aflac, the duck commercial, Transamerica. I can look at all of them side by side, just make sure you're getting the lowest cost out of all of those with the most amount of coverage. So these are some word checks that I say on every call, other than all the questions and the fact finding and the discovery. And this is some of the stuff I have to say. No, this is what I call it, though. This is the skill. It's called putting barbed wire. For those of you from the South, you definitely know what I'm talking about. Barbed wire around your deal. In the office, in a corporate job in South Florida here, I we'd close a deal, but you're like, you better put some barbed wire around that deal because somebody else in the office is going to take it. Meaning you gotta do something where the client knows you're their person for life. Wait, you're telling me that I can save 20 bucks a month? I'm going to call Shandell and make sure you're not lying to me. That's what you want your clients to be doing. Everybody can sell a policy eventually, but are you going to be able to keep 75% of them on the books? At least. And if you're not hitting 75, there's something you could do to be at that number. I know agents in the 90s, but they also sell less policies than me. But now I'm just going off of numbers we had at our old company. There were numbers, reports. They had all the data. So we could see like this girl writing 20 grand a week, but her retention was 33%. But here at TPG, what's really good is that they only show what the carrier has on the books. So the numbers we report are actually accurate. The numbers at other companies, sometimes like you can't trust everything that you see or hear, out there. If someone wants to like FaceTime me and like show me their income, like most people won't do that. So it's not real. But like bank statements, you know. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got. I don't want to make this too long, but I will open this up for some questions if anybody would like to just run anything by me. I don't care who it is or what it is. Just to wrap up today.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. That was very helpful, and I appreciate that you contributed to this meeting.
Griffin, what podcast or YouTubers do you like for motivation and mindset? I know you appear to be a big Grant Cardone person, but
You
what else do
know,
you recommend?
that's a great question. David's got a lot of great content, so I have his YouTube and I'll go on there and I think the reason why you have to narrow it down, honestly, guys, I'll just tell you, and I don't mean to like I have a lot of books behind me. Like I have a good background. I don't even need a virtual background, but this book right here called Sell or Be Sold completely changed my life about 9 years ago, 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago this year. I bought it. I ordered it. I didn't even know who Grant was. A mentor of mine, his name was Alex. He was successful, better than me. But I was like, who does Alex study? He's like, he studied Bob Proctor and Grant Cardone. Bob Proctor was pretty amazing. He passed away, a few years back or something. Um, he was just an amazing person when it came to your mindset, like diving in a little bit. Jim Rohn's incredible. He was Tony Robbins' mentor, believe it or not. Tony Robbins learned from Jim Rohn. Mindset, I would say Jim Rohn on YouTube, absolutely all day long. Just listen to don't listen to people talking about these people. Go directly to a non-AI video of Jim Rohn or someone like Grant. But this book, though, in terms of sales, just we are salespeople. If you're a parent, you're a salesperson. Sorry, you are. So just know that the first thing that you have to know about sales is that you are a salesperson. Like you're selling your kids on getting good grades, making good choices, brushing their teeth, going to bed, waking up. That's a sale. Now, the better salesperson you are, the less the person even realizes that they're being sold. And the way to do that is little bits of reality. So you don't like if someone's like, I'm a Steelers fan, I love the Steelers. Like I'm not like, oh, the Steelers suck. That would be the complete opposite of what you should do, right? But if you're like, listen, you're here in Pennsylvania. Can I just get you to support the Eagles? No, I hate the Eagles. I'm like, listen, I totally understand that you hate the Eagles because you're a Steelers fan. I mean, you should. But listen, man, like they're both from Pennsylvania, man. Do you love Pennsylvania? I love Pennsylvania. Like I was born here. My whole family lives here. Great. Well, the Eagles are going to play in the Super Bowl this year. And like, if a Pennsylvania team wins, that's better than no Pennsylvania team winning. And there are some people that are just so adamant that they still don't like the Eagles that they're never going to change. I'm like, okay, I can't change this person. I can't even get them to support the Eagles. Like, you know, fine. There are people that are like that, you know. But then there are people like, you know what? They're from my state. I'm going to support them too. You know, hey, if they're playing the Steelers, I'm going for the Steelers. But if they're playing, I'm going to still support them because they're from Pennsylvania. That's just an example of like the mindset of the person. You don't completely try to just say, that's wrong. You should support the Eagles because they're from Pennsylvania. Obviously, we wouldn't do that. So it's those little forms of agreement. Like, Timmy, I understand you don't want to brush your teeth, but have you seen Billy's teeth? Do you want to have teeth like that when you grow up? No, I don't. Okay, well then do you think it might be that the reason why Billy's teeth are like that is because he doesn't brush them enough. He doesn't go to the dentist. And then Timmy starts to see, oh, I should start brushing my teeth because I don't want my teeth to look like Billy's. It's like exactly. So get in there and brush your teeth. Like you can't just be like, Timmy, brush your teeth every night because then he'll be like, all right, I brushed them. Because he might act like he's gonna do it. Dude, this relates to everything that we talked about.
Hey,
Okay, so
Griffin, I have a question. Sorry,
yes.
I thought you were done.
No, no, I was done. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So remember when you said about the term and the whole life, and you asked that question, so you like put doubt in their mind, and you also mentioned how you say I'm a broker and I have these few companies, all of that. Do you say that at the beginning of the call, or like where exactly?
There's a certain part where, pretty early on, like, when I'm telling them a little bit about me, just a little bit about us, because they're going to be talking most of the time and we're going to get them to answer a bunch of stuff. And I just want you to know, like, because before I give the price, absolutely. I just know that I always do it before I give them a price because the price that they're seeing all the time everywhere is like 9.95 for up to $30,000. And I'm like, oh, do you saw that Colonial Penn commercial? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, you know what they're really doing, right? No. Have you ever wondered what the catch was? Yeah. Or they either say one of two things. I don't pay attention to that, or they say, yeah, I've always wondered, like, what's the catch? Can you tell me? And I'm like, yeah, like, it's the price you told me. I don't like to say their prices. I'm not going to advertise for them. Yeah, the price you told me, Miss Jones, that's for $1,000. Oh, that's not going to do nothing. Exactly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you wanted 30,000, it's going to be roughly $300. Depending on their age. Like, if you're 75, it's actually $750 for 995. Or if you're 60, it's like maybe 1,200 to 1,500 for 995. But we can always beat their prices with our carriers. So I just kind of average it and I say, listen, $30,000 would be like 300 bucks a month. That's crazy. Unless you're like 80 and I know it's going to be that price anyway, then I got to be careful with what I say. But when they're 67, they're healthy, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you don't need to spend $300 a month for 30,000. Most of these people aren't going to get a policy that big anyway. So I'm like, listen, I know you want $50,000, but would you be willing to at least just cover your funeral? Because they're one of those my way or the highway type of people. I'll get 50,000 or I'm not getting anything at all. I'm like, I understand, but do you have anything right now? No. I'm like, okay, makes sense. Makes sense why you don't have anything. Um, but can we agree just to get your funeral covered, please? And then we'll talk about getting some more later if you can afford it. That's my approach on that, by the way.
Hey,
Any other?
Griffin,
Yeah.
this is Gina. I think you did awesome today. I didn't hear clearly what you were saying because I was driving, but two things I wanted you to repeat, if you don't mind. You said something about that you wanted to add value, to show that you were different. So you like to teach them something real quick. And
Yeah.
then can you real quickly go over what you said about the foot stopper? Because you don't have anything to lose. Like, I know you're going to hang up, but I know you're getting a lot of calls right now, but I'm going to continue to call you until you give me 2 minutes. You said something like that.
Yeah. First of all, sometimes you just got to stand up, when you talk to people. Uh, you got to put some life into it, right? So
Right.
listen, Gina, I know that you probably get a lot of calls. You probably dealt with a lot of people in your lifetime, but I've been doing this for a while now. And do you have a pen and paper? Because
Hmm.
I need you to write down my cell phone number. Now, this is the same number that my mom actually calls me on. And I'm not Jake from State Farm, but I'm going to be taking care of you and your family going forward, okay?
Okay.
I'm also going to give you my license number. It's attached to all my state licenses. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't lie to the client. Like I used to be single and I used to not have a kid. Now I'm married and now I have a kid. And back then when I started, I only had like 30 clients, that first couple months. So I said, listen, last month I helped 30 people. And I looked at my deal sheet and that's how many I helped. So, because I was cranking and or hey, just yesterday I helped two people, Miss Jones. Like I do this all day, every day. Like I'm going to keep doing this for years and I'm going to be your agent for life. So I need you to have my personal information. And this melts down the objections that you get later in the call. Oh, I don't give out my social. I don't give out my banking. I don't hear that. I like barely ever hear that because you gotta just really give it everything you got. You got to put some life into it. And at 5 p.m., you need to have the same life that you had right now.
Okay.
So, and term and whole life, just say, hey, has anyone ever told you the difference? Oh, you know all about it? Great. Tell me what term is then. Don't be rude about it, but like communicate. Like, if you know what term is, just can you please tell me? Because most people don't know. Get them to tell you. Some people know, most people don't. They really don't. Just give them a quick piece. You've already separated yourself from 90% of agents out there by doing that.
Okay.
Okay. You got to talk with certainty. So there's one last thing, and we're going to go because I don't want to, most of you guys are on the phones anyway. Um, you got to talk like even if you don't know what you're doing, you know more than they do, most likely, about this. So just speak without the um, you gotta cut that out and really just try to talk, and you have to practice it without a lot of fluff in the middle or like, and you got to pay attention. You got to turn off all the distractions and your phone and put everything away and just put your full 100% attention on them. You can't be watching shows, Instagram. You can't be talking to two people at once. You can't be multitasking. You should be taking notes with your hand or typing, whichever's faster for you, every single call, and that'll keep you really engaged. And then if you call them back to close the deal another day, Yeah, you remember when you told me about how your daughter, was suffering from myo I don't know, myeloma, some sort of disease. Well, how's she doing? Oh, she's doing much better. Thank you. Oh, you remembered that. Thank you for asking. Yeah, she's doing much better now. Da 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 da. Dude, you're good to go now. Like you're in the deal. So that's just yeah.
Thank you.
Write or type. All right, guys, we went way over, but it was worth it, right? I'm gonna give you guys this recording, and I hope that you have a fantastic day. Please get off this call and make calls because if you don't do that, then this was for nothing. You got to get the reps.
Don't get off the call. Stay on the call, but make
Stay on the
calls.
call and go to the virtual call center
Good job,
right
Griffin.
now.
Woo!
Even if you disconnect from audio, be there, be present, put your face there.
Thank you.
All right,
You're the
virtual
best.
call center.
Great job.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Griffin.
Lauren.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
VCC
you.
dial session, y'all. Let's
Dial
go.
session.